Wednesday, everybody. By the way, happy Wednesday today. Okay, let me start by sharing my screen with you guys. Okay, so you guys already know how to find my website, but I thought I'd just make a note of this today, that to find my website, the easiest way would be just to Google search my name, and it would be the first site that would pop up. Okay, just in case you're at home and this is the first time you're going to my website. Who knows, right? So now that you're on my class website, okay, you're going to need to get to our class page by going to courses and then down to Computer Science 30S, okay? So you're going to go to courses and then you're going to click on Computer Science 30S. Don't worry about this flyout menu. Just click right on Computer Science 30S to get to that main page, okay? That's the main page of our course. And now from here, we're going to go down to end of year assignments. So we're going to scroll down on this page to where it says end of year assignments. This is where we can find the links to our tutorial. Now, just so you know, there is another place. You could also keep scrolling down to where it says remote learning class plans, which has been our journal of what's been going on. And if you go through those days, you will also find the same links to the tutorial. Plus, in those days, you will find the links to the 20-minute segment videos of me going through the tutorial, including this one that I'll be posting shortly after we're finished recording it today, okay? So that's all on our website, and you should already know about that, okay? Now, I do want to say a couple things about the tutorial, though. This tutorial is important because it stands in place of an entire unit's worth of assignment marks, right? During remote learning here, this class's tutorial is standing in place of the entire unit of classes. So you don't have to do programming problems. I didn't have to give you a lecture. We didn't have to do an example. There's no test. So this is standing as one thing which covers an entire unit, which really helps to bring up your mark overall. It really does. So it's the last thing that I'm going to assign to you guys in this class. So it is the last thing to really work on and to finish up the course. So it's important, right? So I want you to have all the resources you need to get it completed in the best way possible. But I did want to mention that this is an important thing. Okay, so to get started today, what we've done before, we're going to open the instructions document, which is one way you could do the whole tutorial, right? If that was a way you wanted to do the tutorial, you could literally just read through this tutorial document, instructions, and it would step by step take you through. That's the way I designed it, okay? You would follow those instructions to set up the project. You would then use it to copy and type in the code, right? You certainly could type in all the code, but I don't think that's the best way to necessarily be productive in terms of finishing this tutorial on time, because the tutorial was designed to be done in 1 hour. So in order to prove that to you, I had made a video of me doing the tutorial over 1 hour. And actually, it's a lot less than an hour. So these segment videos is one way to do the tutorial, but another way is to go through that video as a step-by-step process. You don't have to use a video at all, as I already said. Now, in addition to not worrying about typing all this code, I've also created a folder which has all the PDFs in it for each of the classes, so you don't have to type, you can copy and paste. So in order to continue our tutorial today, I'm going to open the instructions document. Whoops, I already have done that. And I'm going to open that PDF. I'm not going to open any of the videos, okay? But I just wanted to remind you guys with these little notes that that is important. So you can always go back in the video and pause them if you weren't sure what I said there. So where we were yesterday was we had completed most of these classes, right? We started with this one. This was the one we started with, and it's now done. And then we went to vehicle select, which was one that used a designer to build it, and it's done. And then we went to globals, and then to motorcycle and car and truck and vehicle. All of those are done. So the only one left is this one, which is the main game, the screen for the game. That's the one that's left to complete today, okay? And it's another one that has this design part of it. So I'm going to close all the other ones because they're all done. I mean, I could look at them, right? I can look at game screen. I could go all the way back to the original tutorial where I added my code. Make sure you clean up your comments and put your name and date in there. And then there was vehicle select. And then there was globals. Oops. And then there was vehicle. And then there was motorcycle. And then there was car. And then there was truck. And now we're on to game screen. And we haven't done any coding yet, okay? All we've done with game screen was we did this design yesterday. And the design does take a little time. So I kind of wanted to leave that with you guys to get sort of going with that. And that on the instruction document would be around page, right here, on page 10 of this document. It goes through how to design. Now, one thing we didn't get to yesterday, all these names. We need to name all these things. So I'm going to start with that today. Top wall is going to be the name of one of my JLabels right here. To name things in NetBeans, you might remember you right click and change the variable name. We did this back with the vehicle select screen. Change variable name. I'm going to paste in top wall. I copied it, so it cheated a little bit, but I copied the quotes, so I'm going to get rid of the quotes. Okay. Now I'm going to do name label, which would be this one. Change variable name, name label. Okay, and give me a moment to get this all done. Time label, change variable name, time label. Cars passed label. Damage remaining label. You'll notice I use a similar style for those of you who took the grade 10 course. Similar, but not the same. Not at all the same. Doesn't have to be. Okay, I'm just sort of going over some ideas with this. Okay, opponent car is this one. Change variable name, opponent car. And then the hero car is this one. Okay, or I call it driver car here. So change variable name. Again, I could say driver car label like I did with the other ones. Now the stripes going down the center. Center stripe 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one up here is hard to grab. It's hard to find that center stripe if it's behind. So here the navigator can be useful to you again. So that navigator can help you to figure out where all these things are so you can find them. So there it is. There it is right there. And I can also change the variable name right here on the navigator. That's going to be my center stripe 1. This is going to be my center stripe 2, center stripe 3, center stripe. Okay. You can see here, over here, they're in whatever order you want them to be. You can reorder these by dragging them around in the navigator if you want. So again, think of them like a sort of a stacking pizza. And this is also a place where you can see the names now being changed. Like all these little names are being changed here, right? So if I want to put my name label and then my time label, like I can do this. I can order these things around, okay? And then my damage remaining label and my cars pass label, I can do that. I can arrange them in that order, right? I can put the top wall right underneath that. Opponent car, driver car, I can put those together, right? So I have the ability, okay, to kind of organize the stacking order of this using the navigator. Now I've got a couple other things to deal with: the left curb, the right curb, and the bottom wall. So this is my left curb. Over here is my right curb. And down here, I'm actually just going to type this one, bottom wall. Okay, so now I've got everything all named. Top wall, bottom wall, left curb, right curl. Everything is named. That takes a little bit of time as well. It takes a little time to get everything named, but that's an important step right there because the rest is now just all coding. So with 11 minutes left on that tutorial time limit, let's now go and just use the game screen PDF to grab the code we need to get the game screen done. So I'm now going to switch over here from design to source code. I'm going to maybe delete that little comment. I'm going to replace this comment, which was put in there by NetBeans, with this comment right here. And let's remind you a little bit about copy paste from yesterday. To copy the code, you might have to first double click a word, then click and drag. Then you can copy it by right clicking copy or pressing Control C. Okay, so that's how you copy code. Now we're going to come back to here. We're going to paste in our code. Make sure your cursor, that's what that little flashing thing is called, is in the right spot. So say right here or right here. Before pasting, you can paste over top of code if you want, which is what I'm going to do. You can right click and paste. That's always an option. Or you can just press Control V to paste it in. Now don't forget, okay, like we had done in some of the other ones, make sure you use the right name right here and the right date. This is 9/21. I'll be watching for that, right? So that's just something to do when you are copying and pasting code over from the PDF. All right, let's take a look what else we need to paste now. So as I scroll down, I see this default constructor, which is already there. Now you can see the comments a little different. So if you want, comments aren't necessary, but I could copy and paste over the comment as well. And this reminds me now of something else we need to do when we're pasting. When we're pasting the code over, it doesn't always do it properly. Sometimes we need to format it. Sometimes when we paste it over, it's not pasted over accurately and it might miss a space or something like that. So just a reminder, after you paste your code in, select it and press Alt-Shift-F to format it. Select it, Alt-Shift-F to format it. And in some cases with comments, it's not a big deal. You might have to add a space in there. So just remember that. That's why I put these little notes in the video to remind you to do this. Also, that reminder to alter things like this comment as well, okay? To make sure that it's appropriate for when it's get ready to hand it in, okay? So those notes are on there. You can pause the video if you need to remind you of these notes here as we finish up. All right, what's next? Next up, it looks like there's this thing here, start, a call to a method. So I'm going to take that. There. That seemed fine. It didn't clean up. Now it's got an error because there's going to be a method coming. Now I could use the light bulb to make it, but I think I'm just going to wait and copy and paste it over from my PDF here. Now, the next thing it says, okay, form, what is this? Well, I got to read the note here. It says the code below is accessed by right-clicking the form or the frame in the designer and then selecting events, key, and then key pressed. So let me show you what I mean by this. Go to your design. Make sure you right click on the frame or the form, not on one of the labels. Don't right click on a label. Go to events, key, key pressed. So you right click on the form, events, key, key pressed. This is what that comment is saying you do. And you just click on it. And it will get you to this code. It's very similar to like in Visual Studio when you like double click a button. Now remember, as you're copying and pasting over code and you're doing what I'm showing you here in this, if your goal is to just get the tutorial done, then you're just going to keep going. But if your goal is to learn this content in a great detail, then I definitely recommend you spend more time reading through the comments, reading through the code, asking me questions, getting it all done that way. But let's focus on completing this project today. Okay, so key pressed. Let me grab that. Grab that code, copy it, and I'm going to paste it, select it, Alt-Shift-F. And I know that's generating an error, but that error will get fixed once I get to that part of the coding. Okay, next up, scrolling down. Now it says for global variables below. So what's going to happen is you're going to scroll down past this section, but you'll also notice there's this thing here, main. That can actually be deleted. It's okay if you leave it, but I'm going to delete main. And now I'm going to go down here to the end of the variable section. But I got to make sure I push down that curly bracket. So I have a section where I can enter in this code for the global variables. So I'm going to select it, all the global variables. So up to that method, not going to get that. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to select it. I'm going to auto format it. I'm going to make sure I missed any spaces and get those fixed up. And it looks like it missed spaces here and here and here and here and here. Oops. Okay. It's still got some errors, as it says here. I could light bulb these and import them. That would work. Or another option is you could theoretically go to the top here and just import these into your code by copying them, going up here. So copy paste can be also done that way, okay? And you won't need all of these right now, but by the end of this tutorial, you will. Okay, so now I've got all those global variables. You should, if you want to learn this stuff about the gaming aspects of this, go back and look through those global variables. They're there as a tutorial for you, but we're focusing today on finishing this tutorial. So now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to grab this method. As a matter of fact, I'm going to grab one method at a time here. Oops. Let me go down here. So with start, I grab its comment, I grab the method, and I got to go all the way down to the closing curly bracket. In theory, you could grab all the methods, but I think that's probably too much at once. Copy it. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to zoom back here a bit so we can see how big that method was. There it is. I'm going to select that whole method, Alt-Shift-F to format it. Okay. I could still clean up some of these comments. They tend to also kind of not indent properly and stuff like that. Those are little things I could do, right? To kind of get code cleaned up. What's wrong with driver car? So let me just check. Did I not call that driver car? Oh, I called it opponent car. Oh, that's a mistake. All right, well, driver car. Yeah, driver car. Oh, okay. I now see where the mistakes are. It's down in here. There was spaces that were missed between these variables. X, Y, width, and height. That's what those represent. So that finishes that. I realize it causes an error here, and there's some spacing issues to fix up there. All right, but I am cognizant of the time. Now this thing called set timers comes up next, and it's another long method. So I'm going to grab it and start copying through to its end. And it crosses multiple pages, so it's kind of tricky. Copy it. I'm going to zoom back. Paste it in there. You can see it's really long. So now I'm going to select it all. Format. And now I'm going to go in and fix up little spacing errors like that. And maybe, I like this indented in a little bit. This one indented in a bit. Those are not necessary. You wouldn't lose marks for not indenting those. These are still going to generate errors, so don't worry about that. We'll fix those once we get those in there. Okay, so there we go. So now you can see the rest of the code, okay, starts here. I'm going to do it all at once. I'm going to start here and scroll down past all of this stuff right to almost the end. So almost the very end here. The only thing I'm not going to comment is that last curly bracket. No, I don't recommend this, but I want to get this done today and have this on video for you guys. You should probably do this one method at a time, but I'm going to take that chance and I'm going to copy all that code. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to, oops, I'm going to get ready to paste it. Remember, where I'm pasting it is after the closing of one method, but before the curly bracket at the end there. And I'm going to paste it all in there. But now I'm going to have to go back to where I started this paste, which was way up here. Okay, I'm going to select all that code up to, and I'm going to auto format it. Then I'm going to go back to the top of it and start cleaning it up. Now I can see on the side here, my timer is about to run out. So I'm probably going to go a little over time today just to get this all done. Okay. That just means that we won't have to do anything tomorrow. Adding the spaces, indenting. You can always go back on this video and watch how I'm doing this. You can pause it, you can slow it down, okay, if you need to. Watch some of the other videos. But I wanted to set that as a goal today, was to get this all done. And I also wanted to show you how to hand it in on this video. So I realize I'm going over the 20 minutes I usually say I will, but I think it's for a good purpose. Okay, so I'm just adjusting these comments so that they line up with the code they're associated with. Oops. Okay, adding in extra spaces that got removed. How about that? I give it an extra line there. Okay. To really help, if for those of you who really want to understand this code, you can go back and reread through it to get a feel for what the code is doing. Okay, and I'm just cycling through it to just see if there's any errors in my code that are coming up, like this one. Well, that was an error in the comment. Or these ones are important. Double low, double high, double X, etc. Okay, fixes that. This one seemed to extra line in there. Okay, there. Okay. Moving through this code, cleaning it up and getting it ready for the final run of this tutorial. I realize this game screen has a lot of code in it, right? It has a lot of stuff. And the idea was to give a tutorial that was still something interesting by the end. Okay, but I knew that it was going to be a point where, you know, the copy pasting would be a lot, right? This last one here, I got spaces to add in. Okay, and I think, when I hit save, that we're ready. I'm not seeing any errors. Okay, and just do one more scroll up through the code here. Just look for errors or weird sort of formatting issues that might have come up, as I did a lot of copy pasting there. Definitely, for those of you who are really interested in this stuff about gaming and collision detection, would definitely want to go back and look through this tutorial, maybe over the summer for fun, make your own project. It's just one example of the kind of code you could use to do this kind of thing. Okay, I think we're ready for a test run. I'm going to play this thing. This is a big test run. Now, I'm going to assume it's perfect. So you got to remember, to hand this thing in, you're going to have to make some screen captures. As many screen captures, just like with assignments, as you need. So as you go to do this, you could do the good old, you know, screen capture of this thing, paste it in there, whoops. Paste in that screen capture and get a Word document ready to hand in of all your screen captures, right? Do you need to screen capture everything? No, but you know, you want to have some of this in there so that now you can actually play this game. You can see here I can actually move my mouse and play the game. Okay, you may notice that one wall is a little off screen. You might have to make adjustments to the code or to your design to get it perfect. But here you can see I'm passing cars. It's counting that I'm passing cars. If I touch the enemy car, I'm going to take damage. Since it's a motorcycle, I can only take that one hit and it's game over. Okay. If I was to replay this game and choose the truck, it can take up to 3 hits damage and the car can take 1. But the truck is much slower. It's not as easy to maneuver the truck in this game. And again, it's just a sample here. So I'm going to intentionally collide with that car and I can take that damage and my game continues, right? So, and the truck can take another collision. And on the third collision, it's going to be game over. But at least I can use that to play this game, and it offers those choices there. So this should complete the tutorial. Take your screen captures to show me it works. But I want to also talk for just a second about how to hand in the code. Once this tutorial is completed, to hand in the code, because now, unlike all your other projects, we have multiple Java files to hand in. There's a 2-step process to this. One, make sure all of these are open. Like double click all of these, right? To make sure they're open. For ones that have a design, like this one, set it to source code. Or the game screen one, set it to source code. So that all of these things are open in tabs. Doesn't matter what order, just make sure they're all open in tabs. That's step 1, okay? Step 2, now you can use that NetBeans project window, this thing, and holding down the control key, make sure all the Java class files are selected over here by holding down control. Don't accidentally click on something like that package there, just the files there. And now I can go to File, Print. And rather than printing one PDF at a time for each Java file, it prints all of them at once. After that, it's the same process as normal. Turn the PDF into your code, hand it in on my hand-in page, and bing, bang, boom, your tutorial is done. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop the recording. I know I went a little over time.